and thank you for joining me. My name is Randley Hart. I'm one of the construction accountants here at Fast Easy Accounting and Business Consulting Accounting. And this short video is going to be a demonstration of a new service we're offering. It's called the Assisted Do-It-Yourself Construction Accounting. And it's designed for contractors who need a little or a lot of help to set up the QuickBooks Desktop. Oftentimes you've heard this, that contractors will call up and say, you know what, we have a good in-house bookkeeper who can take care of the bookkeeping, or you have somebody we can outsource it to, or perhaps it's a contractor who says, I'm sure I can do the bookkeeping myself. My biggest problem is I can't seem to get QuickBooks to work. It's very frustrating. Well, I'm going to show you the problem and the solution. The problem is simply this. When you set up a QuickBooks file, a lot of times this is using to set up the Easy Step interview, and I'm showing this on QuickBooks Desktop 2016. However, it works in all flavors of QuickBooks back from the DOS version that came out in 1991 to whatever the current version is that you're using. And it works for QuickBooks Pro, Professional, Enterprise. It works for all of them, our little system here. Just a quick segue. I've used QuickBooks since 1991, so I'm very familiar with it. The problem is that when you first set up that Easy Step interview, it may take you half an hour or a couple hours, depending on how involved it is. But you're gonna start out with a few items here on the left-hand side, and not too bad. It kind of gives you a good start. The problem is that your chart of accounts is very limited, and I just want to say kudos to Intuit, makers of QuickBooks, because what they've done is they put together this little basic template just to get you going, but it's not really designed to work effectively for any kind of a construction company at all. So what happened, give you a little quick history. Like I said, we started using it in 1991. In about 1993, I got an idea. I thought, well, shoot, I'll take a few days off, maybe a week at the most, and I'll put together a template that will be useful for contractors. Well, that was in 1993. I started it. This videos are made in late 2016, about 23 years later, roughly, and it's still not done. In fact, I have a very qualified person right now working on, as I did this video, and she's been working on the update, the latest version to the template. We call it the QuickBooks template. We do probably at least 50 minor updates annually on the template, so it's improving all the time. But here's what's happening. So we'll just take like plans, permits, site work, demo, and that sort of thing, and we have something similar to that over here, only we call it LMOS, which is labor, material, other, and subcontractors. That's very important, because you don't want to just track windows and trim or plumbing or HVAC. You want to know how much you spent on labor, internal labor, your staff, your field workers, material, other costs like permits and that sort of thing, and subcontractors. So we took this basic list over here and we broke it up and gave it a whole bunch of stuff. So for example, I'll just take one really brief up here at the very top, the basic LMOS, which is labor, material, other, and subcontractors. And then we took those things like the plans and permits and HVAC and all kinds of things. So I'll just pick on plumbing a little bit. So we took the plumbing section and we made it a C15, a little bit different, but it has rough, labor, other costs, material, and subcontractors. Then it has the same for trim. Same with HVAC. Electrical is a lot more complex. I'm not showing them all here, but they're all there when you buy them. And there's insurance work, operations. Now, one of the things I like to mention just briefly, we have over 100 different chart of accounts and combinations that you can buy. So depending on which combination you buy, some of the stuff you're going to have in yours that you'll see here, some you won't. It just depends on which combination you want. But the one that's really important is called the service agreements. I just want to touch on that very briefly. You can make some money in construction, but the real profit, the hidden profit, is in service agreements. And I got a lot more to say on that, but I won't say it right now. So most of the accounts do have a section for safety, like the eye wash, first aid kit, glasses, gloves. This is very important if you ever have a problem. Hopefully you never do, but it does occur. And if you can say that you do have an intent, that you're intenting to have a whole safety section. Now, this little section here is just huge, and it only applies if you're a home builder. If you're not a home builder, this doesn't make, you wouldn't be buying this part of the template anyway. Like I said, there's over 100 different templates. But if you're a home builder, you can appreciate this because we have a whole section broke up, LEMOS for spec, home builders, so labor, material, other cost, other soft cost, subcontractor, a whole section for closing cost, draw request, hard cost, sale, soft cost, and work in process for tracking that work in process while the project is being done. And this thing goes on extensively. I'm only showing you a fraction here to make the video short and not too boring if I can help it. We give you a whole bunch of templates for checking accounts, money market, payroll, savings, and a bunch more accounts there. Won't go into it. The allowance of doubtful accounts is very important. If you have contract deposits, you're going to need that badly. We have a whole section about employee advance holding. This applies, so you've got a field personnel or an office personnel, it doesn't really matter. And if you decide to give payday loans or advances, call them what you will, we have an entire system. You can track those here. Very, very important. Okay. Prepaid expenses, these are things like maybe you prepaid for your liability insurance. You want to spread it out over a year's period. So it's called smoothing of the financial reports, profit and loss and balance sheet. If someone owes you retention, we got a whole section for tracking the retention, receivable and payable. And there's a place there for short-term investments. Underbillings and overbillings only apply in certain situations, and if you're a contractor that needs that, you understand it. Most of the files don't come with that because it's not necessary. So fixed assets, we show you a way to track your job site trailers, office equipment, tools, equipment, and vehicles, and a whole lot more. This is really important that you track your fixed assets correctly. Again, if you're a builder, you'll understand this, the accrued interest cost and development loans. We all have a big section of deposits. It's just a fraction, but like the bid bond deposits, mortgage impounds, that sort of thing. Deposits that you're putting out, not the ones that you're receiving. You want to have, a lot of builders and contractors want to have an estimated federal tax payment so they know what to expect. We have a whole section for that. Again, if you're a home builder, this applies to you. Your finished units and inventory goes here, very detailed and very extensive. Now, this is kind of neat. Intercompany transfers. A lot of contractors will have more than one company. And there's always that little bugaboo. How do you transfer the cost from company to company? We have a whole section for that. Mortgage notes receivable. Again, this only applies if you're a home builder. In certain cases, commercial builders as well, where you want to track your hard costs of construction, hard costs of development, land inventory, loan holdbacks, soft cost construction, soft cost development, and various upgrades. Now, I'm just showing you a fraction here, but it's very, very detailed. Give you a lot of work in process, always on this WIP information. The credit cards business, I've got this broke out into sections for American Express, Discover, Visa, MasterCard, Home Depot, Lowe's, that type of thing. Very, very extensive. There's also other credit cards like the PayPal. There's a spot for that. Now, this is super important if you're a contractor and you receive deposits from your customers. Well, you want a way to track those deposits and have them show up properly on your profit and loss and balance sheet. You track them there. This is the employee reimbursements holding section. It's pretty complex, but very easy to work with once you see it. And you can track your 1099 reimbursements, your admin, your field employees. Someone purchased material or tools or equipment and you're entitled to reimbursement, you track it there. If you sell gift cards and gift cards outstanding, that's a nice little profit center. Overbillings, again, is something that if you have overbillings and underbillings, you know what it is. If you don't have it, just ignore it. The payroll liabilities, I actually broke this out pretty extensively from the 941 to 940. employment security. You don't see all that here because I didn't want to bore you with all the details, but all the payroll liabilities are broken out, and so you can track and make sure they're paid properly. No surprises. Prepaid service agreements, let's say that you have an HVAC system in your office and you're prepaying for a service agreement, for an annual maintenance agreement on that. That will go there. Retention payable, if you hold retention from your subcontractors, that goes there. You have short-term loans, use payable. Any back taxes would go here. Hope you don't have any, but sometimes it does occur. Notes payable, other loans. Let me get into what's for the builders again, because like I said, this one is kind of a sample. We have hundreds of them. Just depends on what you need. But builders need to track the construction loans, the land development loans, the land purchases. And this is very detailed and extensive and helps you track the interest and the principal. And a lot of times it's just the interest payment only. So security deposits could be if you're a contractor and you have rental property. That's where that comes into play. If you're a contractor and you have vehicle loans, well, you track the vehicle as a fixed asset, but you don't track the loan down here. And you can split up nicely between the what's called the payment, the principal, and the interest here. This is all the equity section, and the equity is pretty simple. How much money do you put in the business? How much money do you take out of the business? The construction income, I only showed a fraction here, but like change orders, consulting, contracting, design fees, home inspection, markup, etc. Again, service agreements are something that you can sell no matter what kind of contractor you are. Service agreements are a wonderful, wonderful income opportunity. I can't say enough about them. We, at one point, had one of our businesses that started as a one-truck operation with myself and an apprentice. And when we sold it, it had 27 employees and 7 trucks. And we made a fortune on our service agreements. So, enough said. Word to the wise. Custom home builders, again, we can track your home sales and home upgrades. You need discounts, spec lands and lot income. Maybe you sold the home, maybe you bought some land, you developed it, and that sort of thing. In construction, there's 2 things to be aware of. One's called the cost of goods sold, or COGS, and there's expenses, which is overhead. Well, COGS breaks down to 2 primary areas: direct construction costs, and those are costs that are actually applied and put toward the construction job itself. So every construction job will have disposal fees and material and job site facilities and payroll and prevailing wage and burden, which is the taxes and overhead you pay for your field people. There's some service agreement costs, maybe some shipping and freight, some subcontractors, maybe even warranty costs. And by the way, this stuff is very extensively broken out. But also in the cost of goods sold, there's some what's called indirect construction costs. Maybe like bonds for license, inland marine insurance, small tool repairs, some vehicle costs for your field. And again, this is very extensively broke out. Talking to the builders, again, the home builders, there's your spec construction cost. When you move it from an asset and you make the sale, it transfers down here, and you'll find those transfers here in this item list. Quite a bit further down here, where you're transferring the sale and the soft cost and the WIP. That's where you do that sort of thing at. So here's how you track your hard cost of the construction, development, soft cost construction, and soft cost development. Also getting into the expenses, and the expenses, this is just a really abbreviated view of the general administrative, otherwise known as G&A expenses. You have office expenses, office supplies, sort of thing, postage and delivery. And this is extremely long and detailed. Travel entertainment, really important. Marketing is huge. Then the payroll, office compensation, and admin. And this is quite a bit more information in the actual file. This is important too. We have the other income and the other expenses. Now, just a very brief on this, if you would please, bear with me. Other income and other expenses, these are things that your business generates in income and expenses, but is not germane to your business. So you might get a little bit of dividend income, could get some interest income from your savings account. You may have bought a truck for $20,000 and it was appreciated and you sold it for $5,000. Well, that's a gain in assets. The additional financing costs, like the credit card and the finance charges, and loss on assets, that sort of thing. And this is really important. Now, primarily, this whole chart of accounts is designed to make doing your day-to-day entry a whole lot simpler, because everything is there that you're going to need. And if you need more, we have it. You just buy more. It's just modular. Buy as many modules as you want, and we have support if you need it. But here's the key. A couple of things that you really need to be aware of. The end of the year, when you turn this file over to who does your taxes, your annual tax return, maybe you're doing it, maybe a service is doing it, it doesn't matter. But whoever's doing it is going to love this thing, because it's designed to do multiple things. It's designed for the contractor to use it every day, day in and day out. And it's designed for the tax preparer to be able to import this into the tax software, and makes it so easy for them to do your taxes. And more importantly, if you do it correctly, you'll capture a lot of deductions, which is huge. Don't pay more taxes than you have to, please. So really important for there. The other situation is, if you go to the bank or any kind of lending institution and they ask you for a profit and loss and financial statement, you simply print those by going up to the reports. I know you know how to do this. And you go to the profit and loss reports or the balance sheet or both, and you generate those reports. You are going to love that, because you take it to your bank or your financier, then they'll know immediately that this is the standard chart of accounts. We try to get as close as possible, it's not exact, but as close as possible to the generally accepted accounting principles, which is what the bankers work with, what they expect. This is a huge improvement. We're trying to do this business all yourself. Now, you can build something like this yourself, just like I did. It only takes about 25 years to do it, or you can just buy the main modules and add more as you need. And we can custom fit and custom design different accounts if you need something that you don't have. So just let us know. Well, thank you very much. Hope this is useful. Bye for now.